presidency, Lyndon Johnson was potentially involved or potentially played a role. And a group called the Warren Commission was founded to kind of investigate the death of Kennedy. And, they touted themselves as a really transparent group, held a lot of their meetings in secret. However, they didn't call a ton of witnesses. But basically they found that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone and reconfirmed the official story that Lee Harvey Oswald was the assassin.
I think it's important at this point to not use the word confirmed. But if memory serves me, there were multiple. Though I don't believe it came out which ones were doubters of the original report that they were voting on. That was saying basically confirm this is what happened. But they backtracked on the official report that was released and that we can read today. They backtracked and they said it was a high probability that it was one gunman, 3 bullets from the 6-story book depository. Not necessarily confirmed, just more of a strong notion in that general direction.
Yeah, and I mean, so after the Warren Commission kind of made that report, I think the American people generally accepted the findings of the report, and but there was a few really notable skeptics, including one guy named Jim Garrison, who was a district attorney in New Orleans, and he was one of the really vocal voices that there was more to this story, and he was touting a lot of his conspiracy theories in public and really questioning the validity of the Warren Commission's report. And basically, after the American people kind of started to hear about this potential conspiracy and on the heels of other kind of instances where the government was lying, like Watergate and Vietnam, the people really latched onto the notion of a conspiracy. I mean, it's kind of like when you tell your kid about Santa and they discover later that you lied. Basically, they know you're a liar, so they question everything.
Wait. Santa?
No.
Yeah.
It's real. He's just making up. It's okay, Chase.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I should have said spoiler alert.
So let me ask you this, Adam and Miles. It sounds that, especially from your voice, Adam, I don't feel like you necessarily believe the Warren Commission was truthful or they were sound in their decision. Is that true, or are you on the side of the Warren Commission, or how do you fall on this issue?
Well, I think before I answer, maybe we can have Miles give us a brief rundown of some of the popular theories that exist.
Oh, this is fun. Okay, so there's a gentleman out of Texas who makes his whole living, his everything is to debunk everything there is about every conspiracy theory. And in his words, and see, I should have wrote more stuff down. I'm so unprepared. His words were, if you read and you believe every conspiracy theory, every single person in the Dealey Plaza that day, except for Jackie Onassis, was trying to kill John. That's how incredibly horrific they are. You have the very popular ones that most people know is the grassy knoll. I think that's probably the most widely known conspiracy theory in this. The second gunman on the grassy knoll, or the jest at the magic bullet, that the things the Warren Commission states that the single bullet did would create, not straight line trajectories and would be impossible. Then you also have the Umbrella Man conspiracy, the unknown gentleman with the umbrella that's seen in the Zapruder film. Then, let's see, you have the shooter that's also on the 6th floor of the book depository but the other end of the building. Second shooter, the shooter from the Daltex building. But yeah, those I would say are the biggest ones as far as other shooters. Conspiracies, the founders of the conspiracy or where they originate. everywhere from the Russians, the Cubans, the mafia, to even the one that a lot of people like to snuff right away is that our own government did it, the CIA.
Okay, so I mean, so you gave a lot of rundown there. So maybe let's go back to second shooter. So as you kind of mentioned there's a pretty, I guess there's some evidence that there, either the trajectory of the bullet or some of the video evidence. There was you mentioned the Zapruder film as well, kind of a bystander that was taking a home movie, if you will, came out later, like in 1977, and kind of showed the best angle of the. Okay. Yeah, not yet.
And I mean, just a little known fact that the family of Abraham Zapruder sold the actual footage to the government for $16 million, which I find pretty astonishing because they analyzed this footage, they did everything that they needed to, and then they still offered them $16 million to have the original footage, which I think is lends a little bit of credence to the scrutiny that was on this little piece of film.
Have you watched the video, Chase?
A fucking 150 times.
And you think it looks like he was shot from behind, like the official story reads?
So I think there's two bullets that you can definitely notice. At least you don't see the bullets obviously, but you can see that one, he gets shot in the neck, and you can see his reaction to that, and then you can see much more grotesque when he gets blasted in the face by the second bullet.
In the face, but he got shot from behind.
Well, his face explodes, so I don't give two fucks really if he gets shot from the front or the back. That motherfucker's brains went all over the place.
All over the place. Like Jackie was wearing a brand new JFK brain dress.
Which, again, a little known fact. Let me interject here with another tidbit of trivia: is that dress or that pantsuit that she was wearing that day, or that nice little attire, it was brand new, as Miles said, and is now sitting in the National Archives, still bloodstained, and will not be released to the public until the year 2130. Due to the restrictions that Jackie Kennedy, mm-hmm. Due to the restrictions that she put on it when she gave it over to the National Archives.
I mean, it's tough to get blood out, so it's not surprising.
Yeah, you might as well just give it for posterity purposes.
You have a lot of experience in this, huh?
Well, I have no experience doing calculus or anything of any importance. Most of my knowledge comes from stupid ass shit.
So. Yeah, so like Miles was saying, there is some people that believe there's evidence that there was a second shooter. Either the physics of where Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly shot JFK is kind of in doubt to some. I mentioned in the Zapruder film. I think it's kind of interesting if you watch how, I guess, his head moves, that it doesn't appear to me that it looks like he's shot from behind. But
my question would be, going back to my original question, Adam, let's just assume that everything happened the way that the Zapruder film says it did, which we can all go and Google that or YouTube that and see it. If you don't think what happened, what do you think happened?
If I don't...
If you don't think what happened.
Well, I think what happened.
So you don't, looking at the film, you don't think that it's possible that he got shot from the back both times, so through the neck, right? That's the first shot, and then the second shot is blasting his head away.
Yeah, I don't think, if at least the video, obviously the bullet's moving fast, so I guess as you like to say, you're not a scientist. I'm not a physicist or whatever, but it does not appear to be someone shot from behind when I view that film. But what's your take, Miles?
It's, you have to believe your eyes in a lot of things. You have to look at them and the movements, and now a lot of ones that have looked to rule these theories out have come up with some explanations for why the head moves in this way. But no, it does not appear that he's shot from behind. This are you guys familiar with the 90s comedian Bill Hicks?
Yes.
Negative.
Adam?
No, sorry.
Okay. Bill Hicks was the early 90s conspiracy theory. No, he was the guy that it wasn't really comedy. He got up there and just yelled at the audience about crazy conspiracies and messed up shit. And he has an entire bit on JFK. After we're done here, you should definitely look it up because it's amazingly simplistic in its way. He's on stage and he's hitting the part of JFK's head that blew off would have been the top right of his forehead, so just above his right eye, I believe. So in this video, Bill Hicks is slapping that part of his head and doing the motion that JFK's head goes, saying back and to the left, back and to the left, and then he says, "I'm not a physics major, but I believe this back and to the left motion would be caused by something that I don't know," and then he points over there. Did you see that? No, but what they said was, it comes from behind you, and
the bullet was just moving so fast it created a vortex.
Well, actually, I mean, if you the scientific explanation, one of the more recent ones is the explosion of nerve endings and neurons in his brain as the bullet traveled out the front of his head, blew his head backwards.
So when you get shot, if you were to commit suicide, let's say, and you were to blast your neck or your face, the initial wound going from, if you're shooting from the front to the back, your initial wound in the front of your head is going to be very small. The initial wound in the back of your head is what is going to be the giant explosive, the explosion of guts, basically, from the bullet. So I don't think it's so far-fetched to say that if Kennedy got shot from the back to the front, that his head moves backwards as the bullet expels from his head, because the wound, just judging off of every bullet wound that has ever happened, will explode once it reaches the end point of the body.
That was some deep science you just tried to drop there.
Well, it's not science. I mean, it's just...
Right, he's not a scientist.
I'm not a scientist. I'm a big dumb idiot. But all I'm saying is that if you were to shoot yourself, that the nastiness would not exist in the front of your face. It would be in the back of your head where the bullet exits from your body.
Yeah, no, I mean, any serial killer, psychopath show or movie, you watch enough Dexter, and you know the exit wound is always bigger than the entrance wound of it for any bullet.
So is that one theory that is in your guys' mind? Is it believable or it's not believable that he didn't get shot from the back? I mean, are we going off of the hypothesis that didn't happen that way at the very least?
I can say that I am not convinced that it was a shot from the front. Based on that,
shot from the back or shot from the front?
I believe that it came from the back, based on the logic of the entrance, the difference between an entrance and an exit wound. Because on the Zapruder film, you can't clearly, because I mean this is as low of definition of film as you can get. You can't clearly see the entrance wound, but you can damn clearly see the exit wound. Because once he's shot and Jackie starts to pull his head down, the back of the head is exposed. The entrance wound is tiny in comparison because it's not as clear. It's more covered by hair than anything in those frames. So I do believe it came from the back, yes.
Is that what is suspected to happen? Sorry, I'm confused as to what actually happened. That's what's supposed to happen.
Well,
right?
I
He got
think-
shot from the back.
Yes, that's what the official story is. Yep.
Yes, from behind. From behind.